Welcome to the Community and Economy Committee meeting of Muswellbrook Shire Council on Tuesday, the 14th of July, 2026. I declare the meeting open at 4:57 p.m. Please note that this meeting is being live streamed and will be made available on Council's website. I have an application for attendance via audio-visual link from Councillor Dunn has been received. Is there a mover and seconder for the authority to be given? So, thank you, Councillor Drayton. Move, Councillor Morris second to attend the council meeting. I now put the motion. All those in favour, raise your hand. All those against the motion, raise your hand. I declare the motion carried. We'll have the acknowledgement of country to be read by Councillor Hartley.
Muswellbrook Shire Council is proud to acknowledge the traditional owners of the land on which we work and live. We pay our respects to First Nation leaders and elders, past, present and emerging, who are the keepers of history, traditions, knowledge and culture. We commit to working in collaboration with traditional owners in the spirit of reconciliation and partnership. As we meet today, let us reflect on the knowledge and stories that have been shared on this land for thousands of generations and commit to walking together in a spirit of respect and understanding.
Thank you. Seated. We have no apologies for this meeting. Confirmation of the minutes of the previous meeting. The minutes of the Community and Economy Committee meeting held on the 10th of March 2026 are listed in the agenda. The recommendation is that the minutes of the Community and Economy Advisory Committee meeting held on the 10th of March 2026, a copy which has been distributed to all members, to be taken as read and confirmed as a true record. Do I have a mover and seconder for this motion? Moved by Councillor Morris, second by Councillor Marshall. I now put the motion. All those in favour of the motion, raise your hand. All those against the motion is carried. Do I have a disclosure of any pecuniary or non-pecuniary interest? We'll start with you.
No.
No. Councillors?
No.
Councillor Dunn?
No.
Okay. There is no business arising. We now have Michelle from Larkin. Is Michelle on the screen to give us a report on the business plan for the Muswellbrook Shire Aquatic and Fitness Centre? Is Michelle on there? She is. Welcome, Michelle. We'll start your presentation.
Oh, thank you. Good evening, everybody. Thanks so much for having me. We were privileged enough to work on the business plan as part of the review of the aquatic facilities, and I do see that the report was circulated. So I just wanted to give a really high level overview of the process that was undertaken, and I guess some of the higher end of the recommendations that we put forward through the business plan. So just in terms of the methodology of how the report came to be, we were engaged to do an extensive market and demographic analysis, getting to know the Muswellbrook and wider community. This included things like looking at what competitors existed in the local area, their pricing, gap analysis. We completed, in partnership with Royal Life, an in-depth safety and risk audit of both the facilities. So we were able to determine, some improvements that we could make in terms of safety and risk. We performed a number of site visits and mystery shops. Some of those were announced, unannounced, and also using, phone calls and on-site visits. We undertook some community and stakeholder engagement. So I did get to engage with many of you in the room, as well as the wider community and the existing users, and a lot of the groups, such as the swim clubs that operated from both those facilities. In addition to that, an extensive service and program review was undertaken. So we really got to see in action things like your Learn to Swim program, your group fitness, all the programs that are running across the facilities. And after looking through, I guess, the staffing structures, the financial performance, we were able to then build this into, I guess, a business plan with some really key actions moving forward. So I know that you've received the high-level plan, but there was also a secondary plan which had a lot more detailed tasks, more for the staff coming out of that process. But just at a high level, because I know it's always short on time in these sorts of meetings, I guess just to talk through, I guess, some of the main findings. And I'll start with the main facility there at the Muswellbrook Aquatic and Fitness Centre. I think it's an absolutely fantastic regional facility that you have there, and you've made some great upgrades over the years. So to see things like splash parks and warm water pools, it might be the envy of many of your regional counterparts. But we certainly saw some really key I guess, areas to improve activation and get more of the community involved through the facility. One of the main items that we felt could really improve was your swim school program. So we've put forward some recommendations there to have a bespoke program which would have a lot more progression levels, and it would move more into an ongoing base program. So at the moment, it's sort of running more on that term base, and we're recommending that move to a 48-week ongoing program, which helps with student development. Will also improve the financials of the program, but it also eliminates a lot of the admin that's required to, and wait lists. That's something that the community are looking forward to, having access to more classes, and that would also then feed in a little bit more into squad programs leading into swim club membership. So it basically is a complete lifespan for swimming, and also noting that we saw opportunities as well to have more adult and later teen learn to swim, not just focused always on children. So there's certainly some recommendations in the business plan about how that can be achieved, but we saw that as a great opportunity to improve activation. The second piece is certainly around technological enhancement. So the good news is there is already some programs that council has purchased recently. Perfect Gym is the main CRM system, and we can see that there's some opportunity to use that to a greater capacity than it is currently being used. And I know that the team at the centre are already starting to move towards some of those recommendations. So this would allow things like online joining, customer platform communications to really improve that customer experience. And it would link a little bit more to the access control at the centre as well, which would just help things like leaked income, which can sometimes happen. So moving towards and using that system to its greater capacity will really help with that. We also saw some unique opportunities within your health club. We could certainly see that when the upgrade was delivered years back, there was thought to a 24/7 access, and we would certainly recommend exploring that further. That was very evident coming out of the review and the stakeholder engagement that the community would love more access at like later times, particularly the mining workers. It was certainly picked up on that would be a key thing to increase activation with limited staffing costs associated with that change. We've also made some recommendations too, just around things to improve that floor plan layout to get a bit more functionality through the health club. But overall, given the size of that space, that health club is generating some really good revenue and activation. So it will be great to see that continue. We did put forward some other recommendations too, just around things like workforce, community partnerships, the co-designing of programs, and just how we'd recommend some possible programmings through your peak and off-peak times, which is all centred around, generating more activation of the facility, but trying to do that in a way that's not going to increase, huge operational and staffing costs. We have included some other recommendations throughout the report, which can come at a later time, but it's just again around things that we feel the industry is moving towards, and that just included, things like even the name of the centre. The industry is moving to more holistic wellbeing recreation facilities, so we've made some recommendations that might be something that we look at towards a later date. And then just looking at the Denman Memorial Pool, while a lot of these recommendations can go across into both the facilities, the Denman Memorial Pool is certainly facing some challenges that we see right across regional Australia at the moment. It's an ageing infrastructure. 50-metre seasonal pool. We see a lot of these in Australia that are coming towards end of life, and we could see that was certainly something that Denman is facing there. So we've put forward that it would be our recommendation to do a feasibility study on the future there. We would strongly recommend not just looking at a like-for-like replacement. 50-metre pools were very, very popular back in 1956 as part of that Olympic era, but these pools are definitely shifting. So we do feel that a look through that tourism, the master plan and what's happening there, it would be an opportune time to look at multiple options for what that would look like. So I know I've just did a quick word count, but it was quite a large process to put forward into the business plan. I'm obviously happy to stay online for questions, and I know some of the team are in the room as well.
Does any of the councillors have any questions for Michelle?
Thanks, Michelle. My understanding is that you did the survey with the 201 responses, or was that council's original survey? That was yours?
That was ours, yes.
Yeah. So some of these percentages had me a little confused because we don't have a break of where the respondents came from, the postcodes were. But it suggests here that 67% of the LGA used the Denman Pool for leisure and family swimming, which to me is extraordinary given the numbers we know with the usage of Denman Pool.
That was 67% of the 201 respondents. So Denman, you did have quite a lot of respondents that were part of that 201.
That's what with the information we don't have, where the respondents come from.
Yeah.
Because that would throw this business plan. The same with the Muswellbrook pool, 58% use it multiple times a week. I don't know how accurate that number is if you were able to have more respondents. And especially if most of your respondents were from Denman, you still get 58% using the Muswellbrook facility. That throws me into a bit of confusion as well, to be honest.
Yeah, so there is, which again we can provide, but there is a full community and stakeholder engagement summary as part of the full report too. So again, we can, if council needs, that what you have is the high level summary of those 201 respondents. So that percentage that you've just referred to is that percentage of the 201 that responded.
And were those percentages what the business case was based on though?
No, there's a whole.
That would throw it out.
Yeah, no, there's a whole, there's a full detailed report that has the whole stakeholder engagement breakdown. So no, it's not centred around those. That was just some high level ones we picked up from that community survey.
Thank you.
Denman in the lesson. Pool.
Just want to listen to Denman Pool.
Yeah. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5. This week.
25 people. That just
We might just get after it just to give us a bit of an update. We ran a trial of some swimming lessons. You just want to give us a bit of an update of the swimming lessons that provided at Devon?
In the pool?
Yeah.
So what we'll be trying around the summer, the warmer months this year. We'll be sending a couple of instructors there. We tried last year. We had no major respondents during last year, but this year will be so we've engaged Larkin again for learn to swim upgrades. So we'll be doing some online enrollments. We'll be trying a few different things. And by doing that, we'll be seeing how many people do respond from them and see that if they are able to deliver. And it will happen during the warmer months because we have too many families from Denman already coming to Muswellbrook for swimming lessons at the moment because the pools are heated, obviously. But in warmer months, we'll try for the families who don't travel here if they are interested in doing swimming lessons, and we'll try and deliver those things there too.
Thank you. Did that help?
Aye.
Any other councillors with any questions for Michelle?
Yeah, one more. So would it be possible to get the full report with this as just the top level one with those survey results and the way in which you reach those answers?
Yeah, I mean, yeah, I'll pass that over to, is that Shaylee in the back? But yes,
Yeah,
there is a full report.
Yeah, we can certainly circulate that to the councillors, the full community survey. That was just one part of the engagement, as Michelle said. So the surveys went out. Sometimes they can skew if, you know, they've gone to particular people, but we've also done direct interviews, met with a number of different staff. The guys went to the pool, met with the swim club out there. We've also done like mystery shopping and observations, and all of that has gone into the development of the business plan.
Yeah.
Some of the key outcomes are the Learn to Swim program. So we're bringing that online. We're having a really structured program, which will be amazing, you know, outcome from this process. The 24-hour gym, we're already in conversations about how we deliver that. And then the key recommendation for tonight is to start to have a look at the feasibility and what we do now with the Denman Memorial Pool. It's been a fantastic body of work, Michelle. Thank you, and thank you very much for the team for going through the great process, and it's really setting us up for success in the future.
Fantastic vision.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. So the recommendation is that the Community and Economy Committee notes the report, endorses the priority actions and supports the progression of the identified priority areas identified within the Muswellbrook Shire Council's Aquatic and Fitness Centre business plan, and 3, approves the investigation of the feasibility of the Denman Memorial Pool and the provision of improved aquatic and fitness facilities to support the Denman community. Do I have a mover and seconder for that motion? Moved,
Yeah.
Councillor Barry. Sorry?
We have done that.
No,
No.
we actually did this first. Do I have a seconder? Amanda moved it. Thank you. Councillor Morris seconded. Does anyone actually want to besides speaking, asking questions, Michelle, does anyone want to speak to the actual report given to us? No? Okay. I now put the motion. All those in favour of the motion, raise your hand. All those against, the motion is carried. Okay. 7.2, homelessness. So the issue paper. The recommendation in the agenda is that the Community and Economy Committee, 1, receives and notes the report. 2, endorses the key priorities and actions identified in the homelessness issues paper. And 3, supports council advocating to relevant state and federal government departments for increased investment in homelessness prevention and support programs in the Muswellbrook Shire. Do I have a mover and a seconder for that motion? So moved by Councillor Drayton, seconded by Councillor Marshall. So before I ask, does anyone else want to speak to the report? I'd just like to speak to the report myself. Just to identify. You want to go first? Okay. Oh, okay, you go first.
No, I do want to congratulate and thank Councillors Douglas and Dunn. This is more than just one meeting. This is meetings week after week, month after month. There's an awful lot of meetings, an awful lot of work gone into this paper. And of course, I think both Councillors Douglas and Dunn have a much better understanding now. And I do thank them for all the work. As I say, it might be my name on the report, but it's only been reported back to me. I haven't done any of the work. It's been both Councillors Douglas and Dunn. So congratulations and thank you. It's probably not work you generally see a local government doing. But again, it's the position this council's adopted that if we don't do it, who's going to? So thank you.
Thank you. That was a little bit about along the lines of what I was going to say about the work that's gone into it, but also to acknowledge and thank the council staff, Ros and Kim, for being part of this. And a lot of work has gone into it, but you both have been fantastic for both Councillor Dunn and I with the different things. And we always have a lot of questions, as you know. And just to sort of to mention that I also sit on the domestic violence committee as well. So we've been doing a lot of work in that space. And supporting all the different groups that are engaged in this. And as you'll see from that paper, we're developing it even further as we go along. Councillor Dunn, did you want to add anything?
No, not at this stage. Does anyone else have any questions?
I now put the motion. All those in favour of the motion, raise your hand. Motion is carried. Muswellbrook, 7.3, Muswellbrook Senior Citizens Hall. The recommendation is that the Community and Economy Committee recommends 1, council schedule the next infrastructure committee meeting to be held on the 11th of August 2026 at the Senior Citizens Hall. And 2, making a budget allocation of $30,000 from Council's General Building Renewal Capital Budget Program for 26-27 for the carrying out of minor refurbishment works. And 3, discussion to be held with senior citizens or representatives on assistance with bookings and discounts of fees and charges waiver options for users. Do I have a mover and seconder for that motion? Moved by Councillor Drayton, seconded by Councillor Marshall. Does anyone like to speak to the report?
Just briefly, yeah, this was flagged. I think the report isn't quite right. It says representatives of the Senior Citizens Hall, because there's only one representative left. So it should be representative. Unfortunately, there's one person who does all that work now, takes the bookings and does all that work on behalf of council. They are an elderly gentleman. He's a gentleman that's done lots of work in this community for a number of different organisations over a lot of years. And of course, it is getting a lot for him as well. But I think we'll talk further about it. Obviously, councillors agree tonight, if the go don't agree to have a meeting there, but I think it's a really good opportunity for us to have a building, or have somewhere in town. We have a lot of community groups. It's been through Councillor Dunn in Douglas, the paper that they put together. We have a lot of community groups who simply want to meet, who need to meet, and who can't afford to pay $100 even, or whatever it might be, for a hall. So I think we should consider it a fantastic venue. Frankly, it gets very, 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 very little use. It's owned by council, and I think I endorse the report, and I certainly think it'd be be a great venue for some of our not-for-profits and charity groups to be able to utilise on behalf. I mean, most of those groups do work on behalf of on behalf of our community anyway. So that's it.
And I just want to support what Councillor Drayton has says. As somebody who utilises it, is a fantastic venue. You know, you can easily fit on Christmas Day over 130, 140 people in it, and still hold that atmosphere. And there is a lot of work that goes into it from Brian himself. So, Councillor Dunn, you had your hand up.
I guess I was
You're
just
on mute.
surprised that being a council building, which I knew it was, that it was being basically overseen by that committee that ended up just being one poor person. So is it back under council control, supervision, or whatever the word should be, regarding bookings and things like that?
Thank you, Councillor Dunn. So in the past, and certainly prior to COVID, the Senior Citizens Committee, they had a full executive. They ran it like a 355 committee where you have, they had their own budgets, they collected the revenue. And since post-COVID, the numbers available to support running senior citizens have reduced. And we're at the situation now where, as the Mayor says, is it's really been one by one general, and that's why we want to have that discussion. Council would like to have that discussion about how we can help and manage the building. Yeah.
Thank you. I was just surprised, that's all. Thanks.
My understanding is the Senior Citizens Committee actually folded post-COVID. I understand because my mother-in-law was the treasurer at the time, and we donated all the funding to the Westpac Rescue Helicopter from them. So is the Senior Citizens Committee a committee still? Or is one person committee?
It's only one person.
That's it.
That's it, yeah.
So the gentleman has been working with council, helping with the bookings, collecting revenue, providing it to council. Keeps very good accounts of everything, very good accounts and everything. It's just that it's one person.
Yeah.
And I'd like to, I think council need to acknowledge the work that he's done. The community feedback from the community is how easy it is to sort of make a booking. It's not the hard system that we have to go to with some of the other bookings that need to be done for council things. So I'd like to see it still kept in a way that it's easy for community. And as Councillor Drayton said, there is a lot of not-for-profits and community groups that would benefit from that. But I think we need to also give thanks from councillors in regards to the hard work that he's put into maintaining this. He keeps meticulous records and he'll chase you if you don't put your money in the bank.
Mm-hmm.
Is there anyone else?
I just want to clarify, is there any opportunity to revamp that committee and actually get it back to, if Max is talking about someone that he knew that was previously on it, obviously COVID's impacted it. Is there an opportunity for council to actually get that back up and running?
Thank you, Councillor Barry. I imagine that would be part of those discussions that council can have. What is the best model to manage? You don't want to be relying on one person necessarily doing all the heavy lifting. It's not fair on them. But you also want that level of engagement and you want that community engagement. And you want it to be an active space and serve the need of seniors and the community broadly. Yeah.
I think again the whole idea was born out of some groups that were using them, and it needs a birthday really bad. It's hasn't had any money spent on it for a long, long time. I don't think there's any opposition. Of course, it's a matter to deal with. You know, if this is supported tonight, it's a matter to deal with down the track. But I don't think there's any opposition. Certainly, I haven't had any opposition from anyone about revamping that committee and that committee running that at all. I think it's more of we've got this really good facility there. We really haven't done a lot to it for a long, long time. It's a bit of a holiday. Let's start using it for what it's, for what we should use it for.
Yeah.
The only reason I actually bring that up is, elderly people in the community need that interaction, they need that opportunity, they need that involvement. If we don't try and help them to have that, then they don't get it. So it's just an opportunity for us to actually give back to those people. I know there are people out there of senior citizen age that want to do that. They want to be involved. They want those opportunities. And, I think they deserve that.
Step one will be certainly rejigging the venue.
Yeah.
Towards that.
Yeah.
Do we have any other questions or comments in regards? I now put the motion. All those in favour of the motion, raise your hand. The motion is carried. 7.4, the Aquatic and Fitness Centre. The recommendation is that the information contained in this report be noted. Do I have a mover and seconder for that motion? Moved by Councillor Barry, seconded by Councillor Morris. Would anyone like to speak to the report? Oh, here you go.
Pass you over to Archer.
I did a report for the past 3 months, how our participation was and mission of the business case was presented. And we are just working on how we can improve all our documentations and things at the moment. And at the same time, we have also engaged Larkin to do a new program for our swim school. As she mentioned, we are trying to change our swim school program, which has been run for years now. It is now trying to change and we make it an ongoing program so that we can maximize our revenue. In doing that, at the moment, we're sitting at close to 425 enrollments in swim school, which has been a good improvement from the past terms. And as we implement the swim school, it will be close to October, and we are trying to get closer to 750 enrollments. But in doing that, we'll have to also hire a few new teachers, which will start this month, at the end of this month. We'll start hiring a few new swim instructors. We don't usually get as many instructors, but we'll try the hardest or maybe get some of our lifeguards to be trained as swim instructors so that they can deliver those lessons. And I also did a report for possibility of a gym in Denman Center. So Denman Pool is only a seasonal pool, we just have 6 months of swimmers, like swimming activities there. Apartment, there's nothing. But while doing the business case, we also found that there was a lot of requirement, or maybe it was a question asked for a lot of people, why don't we have a gym then? 24 hours gym, we are working on it. I'm just waiting for some numbers. Once we have it, we will be implementing that in a few months' time, maybe in the next quarter. But for them and I did a study that we already have a space there, and I did the feasibility study saying that the basketball court or the indoor stadium in Devon, which is very underutilized space. In US, a lot of basketball gyms are converted to a fitness center. They use half court for basketball, so that it brings in participants for basketball, because it is at the moment no one utilizes it as far as I have heard. Maybe someone does, but half court can utilize the basketball. Half court, we can just place some rubber mats and thick one so that the floor stays as is. You don't damage the floor, and you actually have a functional fitness center. And in saying that, in cities, when you if there was a study done, and it is a very regular study, how far will people travel to a gym? Hardly 4 kilometers in city. Whereas for a citizen in Yemen to travel for a gym session, it is close to 50 kilometers back and forth. Come down here, you waste an hour of driving, another hour for your workout, so it is basically 2.5 hours. If you have a gym within the town, you will not go anywhere. If you give them a pretty good gym with the only problem with us was we never really had a space. So I did a study saying that the proposal was with the space, utilize half of the indoor center, half of the basketball court, place some equipment there and see what responses you get. And to be honest, when I did a study, even if we get closer to if I'm looking at a very optimistic number or a moderate number, it was even if we are to get 150 members, we should be able to generate close to 150,000 or 200,000 annually there. You don't need a staff gym. You can have security like as every 24-hour gym runs. But if the gym has if the gym shows good response within the first years, you can actually have a person staff there full time, a fitness instructor who can sell memberships, who can maybe do a bit of cleaning there, do extra stuff, and then if we in future there's a possibility of building a shed or a problem gym center there. So that was some recommendations there. So that there is something happening in terms of fitness or recreation throughout the year. I know there are sports, but every sports person needs some kind of gym or fitness facility there. And it is a good opportunity because there's no one in Denver privately runs a gym. Maybe but if you have a proper commercial facility, people will turn up there.
I must say, when I read that report, although it was headed on an update on the Muswellbrook Fitness and Aquatic Centre, the focus for Devon was extraordinary and very, very good. And I love the fact that we included the likes of Sandy Hollow, Gumball, Merriwalk, and the research was done on how much those people would have to travel, and Devon was the ideal location for that. So congratulations, it was a fantastic report, and I think the outlook for Devon moving forward is going to be extraordinarily welcomed. Yeah.
Thank you.
I agree with Max. Actually excited to see us looking at putting a gym in Devon, because I don't know how many people have come to me and said, when are you getting a gym in Devon? It is something that a lot of people have been chasing. I would err on the side of caution at this stage as to where it's going to be located. I think that potentially something that the Devon Community Committee needs to have a say in as well, for the development of Devon. I think getting their feedback on how we do that should come from those. Opinion.
Any other questions for the report? I now put the motion. All those in favour of the motion, raise your hand. Motion's carried. 7.5, community partnerships. The recommendation is that the information contained in this report to be noted. Do I have a mover and seconder for that motion? Moved by Councillor Dunn. Seconded by councillor Morris. Would anyone like to speak to the report? Councillor Dunn.
Yes, I just would like to say I'm so impressed with the community partnerships team. They run on a shoestring budget, but my goodness, they do some wonderful work. There are only 3 of them, and I don't think any of them are full time. And they're really focusing on that, well, not broadly across the community, but also that 12 to 24 age group that had been largely not forgotten, but sort of put into the too hard basket. And I went to the last youth council meeting, and one of the girls, I can't remember which one, asked the students if they'd like to contribute ideas for holiday activities. And at first, they weren't really sure what she meant, so she explained it in more detail. And to see their eyes light up with so many ideas was just extraordinary. And I think maybe it isn't our place to be doing so much in that sphere, but I think it is really needed. The other thing is, I remember last term when I came on a council, Muswellbrook had a terrible reputation. Denman has largely bypassed that, but Muswellbrook had a disgusting reputation with the crime, the youth, all the rest of it. But I think it's really starting to turn around, and I think it's because a lot of us have joined forces, the different things that are on, and having activities like this where the kids feel engaged and part of the community has to help. So I'd like to say thank you for that little team. There aren't many of you, but you shoot far above your level. So thank you.
Any other comments or questions? I now put the motion. All those in favour of the motion, raise your hand. The motion's carried. 7.6, the libraries for Muswellbrook and Denman. The recommendation is that the information contained in this report be noted. Do I have a mover and seconder for that motion? Moved by councillor Barry, seconded by councillor Marshall. Would anyone like to speak to the report? I now put the motion. All those in favour of the motion, raise your hand. The motion's carried. 7.7, the Muswellbrook Regional Arts Centre. The recommendation is that the information contained in this report be noted. Do I have a mover and seconder for that motion? Moved by councillor Morris, seconded by councillor Marshall. Would anyone like to speak to the report? I now put the motion. All those in favour of the motion? Motion's carried. 7.8, the MELT Quarterly Report. The recommendation is that the Community and Economy Committee notes the MELT's quarterly report for the period ending the 30th of June 2026. Do I have a mover and seconder for that motion? Moved by councillor Morris, seconded by councillor Barry. Would anyone like to speak to the report?
I'd just like to comment that I'm glad it's not a simple copy and paste like the last quarterly report that we got.
I would second that. Any other questions or comments? I now put the motion. All those in favour of the motion, raise your hand. The motion is carried. Now would adjournment into closed committee. The recommendation is that the committee adjourn into closed session and members of the press and public are excluded from the meeting of the closed session, and access to the correspondence and reports relating to the items considered during the course of the closed session be withheld unless declassified by separate resolution. This action is taken in accordance with section 10A(2) of the Local Government Act 1993, as the items listed come within the following provisions. Do I have a mover and seconder for that motion? Moved councillor Marshall, seconded. Yep, councillor Drayton. I now put the motion. All those in favour of the motion? Motion's carried. Now back into open council. So the date of the next meeting is the 8th of September 2026. This brings us to the end of the meeting. I declare the meeting closed at 6:06 p.m.